and people like it. Another example is when you engage your audience, such as my survey siphon technique, where you'll send a survey to your list saying, you know what, man, I want to make some free training for you guys, and I want to make sure I'm making the right stuff. You could tell me the stuff you're interested in learning, and then they tell you what they're interested in learning. Then you look at it and say, okay, there's learning in this, 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 and this, you know, and assuming you know what you're talking about there.
Yeah.
You can make another video and share it with them and say, here's your results from the survey. Look, man, everyone said they were interested in learning about underwater jiu-jitsu. And so here are 7 techniques on underwater jiu-jitsu. So you teach those, you know, make it good and complete and thorough and usable. Then at the end, simple pitch. Hey, thanks so much for taking the survey and tell me what you want to learn. If you like this, then I think you'd really like this class I just created called How to Practice Jiu-Jitsu Underwater, which is, of course, you know, soon to be an Olympic sport in Europe, where the capital, Europe City, has already embraced it wholeheartedly.
Okay, cool. I love it, and it makes a lot of sense. Now, you know, when you think about a lot of, you know, there's a certain percentage in our space, so to speak, they're doing okay, some doing very well, and there's this huge majority that is kind of stuck, they're overwhelmed. And one of the things that always worked for me, and I think I heard also Kevin Nation talking about this, and that's just how I've built my business, is to take massive imperfect action. So when I created my first product, you know, it wasn't perfect at all. When I created my first website, even this Google Hangout, all my stuff, none of it is perfect, but I put it out there, it's good enough, and then I get feedback from the marketplace, and I get results, and it gives me like this positive momentum that keeps me going upwards. So it's imperfect action, and you know, everything I do, it's the same concept. It's not perfect, and I see so many people there waiting for until they're ready, or until the website is ready, or the product is perfect. And I think if they just switch the mindset to taking imperfect action, it worked for me. I came with nothing, you know. And I think you saw my documentary, and my life has changed, and that's really the secret to me. What do you think, you know, with the people struggling right now, what's the big thing that you would share with them when it comes to a mindset of, you know, making money with the internet, or if they're stuck, overwhelmed? What's your big thing that worked, you know, that made a big difference for you?
It's interesting, you've used the word several times now. The number one reason that people get stuck in the quote-unquote internet marketing world, but when I say people, I usually mean this in the sense of people who are just getting started and trying to launch a business or whatever. The thing that impedes their progress the most is, in fact, overwhelm. And I know this because I've surveyed them to the tune of like a couple 100,000 people across multiple customer lists, from mine to other well-known internet guys, etc. That's the number one thing, is overwhelm. And I think that in conjunction with something that's not talked about very much, which is fear, is the killer. So I'll address fear first. The fear that I'm talking about is typically, what if this does not work? You know, if this doesn't work, and I think all of this is subconscious. I don't think anyone sits there and thinks, gosh, if this doesn't work, blah, blah, blah. But I think subconsciously, people might think that, you know what, if I try this and it doesn't work, that means that this dream that I've been holding on to is not real, and therefore everything sucks. So instead of actually trying and risking that initial failure, I think people find it easier to act like they're doing something through buying more stuff in order to almost, you know, metaphorically take that crack pipe hit. You know what I mean? It gives you, so they say, the quick little euphoria, and then you're hosed again. And I think, well, all right, I'm going to buy this course now, and I'm really going to get started, and clearly I'm doing something because I just bought that course, and therefore it must mean I'm taking action. And then they look at the course, they're like, oh my God, I got to do all this stuff when it doesn't work. They get freaked out, and then the cycle continues. So the cure for that is, and this is the fear part, I'll address overwhelm in a minute, the cure for that is to be okay with the fact that it is almost guaranteed not to work at first. Right? So we'll address the fear and overwhelm simultaneously. Overwhelm, right? So too many moving parts. The reason you have that is because you're on everybody's list, and they're all sending you conflicting advice, usually, telling you got to have this thing versus that thing versus the other thing. You got to go to this system. If you don't use the red button, you're going to blow up, and all this kind of crap. How could anyone get anything done with that? Right? I mean, imagine like if you had 17 medical advisors giving you conflicting advice when you were sick. Nobody would get well. It's the same thing, metaphorically. So the first thing you got to do is just pick a path and stick with it, you know, and understand that whatever your gut's telling you is right is probably right. You know better than anybody else, intuitively. So the formula that's always worked really, really well for me is very simple. cast a wide net to generate leads by giving something away for free, aka send them to an opt-in page to get a free report or free video, and then email those guys offers to sell them stuff to help them even more than you already helped them. Two-step formula. That's it. Now, once you understand that you don't have to have 957 different moving parts, 45 different WordPress plugins, the whiz-bang hosting, the upsell, downsell, cross-sell, reverse monkey, Aikido script or whatever, you're going to be okay. Send some traffic to an opt-in page to give a free thing away and then offer to help the people even more than you already helped them for free. Now, with that said, now comes the fear. Okay, well, what if that's too simple? Well, what if it doesn't work? Here's my guarantee to you. My absolute, these results are typical. Take it to the bank. You can quote me on this guarantee. It's definitely not going to work the first time. Yay, motivation. Right? It's going to be a pain in the ass. You're going to send traffic, and the traffic might not opt in at the rate you want them to. Or they might opt in, but they might not buy yet. Totally normal. Rarely does this ever work the first time. What you're going to have to do is tweak your opt-in page through some different copy, and then tweak your sales page through some different copy. And if you just keep doing that and stay the course, assuming you're selling something that people want, of course, you're finally going to get results. And that's really all there is to it. So the fear and the unwillingness to face the initial almost guaranteed failure is what prevents people from moving forward. And the metaphor I like to use is, it's like someone wanting to be a prize-fighting boxer but being deathly afraid of getting punched in the face. It's like, dude, you're definitely going to get punched in the face.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, if you want to be a fighter, you got to be willing to go in there and get punched in the face. And you get punched in the face long enough and punch the other guy in the face more than he punches you, you're going to win. That's the end of the game. And that's pretty much what this whole business is really like, except what we don't actually punch anybody in the face.
I hear you. And another good point I think that you talked about there is, and one thing that I realize is I see a lot of people on different forums and things like that, complaining that they don't make enough money online. And you ask them, okay, what's your website, what's your offer? And they realize that they actually don't have a link online where someone can sign up or pay something, even if it's not even their own product, but they just don't have anything. So the first step is put something out there, even if it's not perfect. And also regarding overwhelm, I think it's proven that it's not about information. I think it's proven. What I mean by that is, we have never had so much access to information out there. If you look at all the books and the ebooks, and if you go to the bookstores, if it just was about the know-how, man, we would all be rich and happy and have a great lifestyle and, and wealthy and famous because the books are all out there. So it's proven, anyone watching this Google Hangout right now, I'm sure you have your hard drive full with all the information that you could ever need, but it's not so much the know-how, it's just like taking that step, implementing it and doing the little things, because everything that's easy to do is also easy not to do. I read that in the book, The Slight Edge, which is awesome. And talking about books, what's the top book for you when it comes to business and maybe let's say life? And I think for business, for me personally, it's The Go-Giver, and I learned about that at Mass Control 2.0 actually in San Diego. And
yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's really a good one. What about you? What's the best book?
I think I've read like 2 business books in my life, that being one. I can actually tell you all of the business books I've read. So there's that one, there's Dan Kennedy's No BS Time Management, Dan Kennedy's No BS Wealth Attraction, and Scientific Advertising by Claude Hopkins. All of them are exceptional depending on what skills you want to learn.
Mm-hmm.
If I was talking to someone who was very, very new to this whole concept, I would probably direct them towards the Time Management and then Wealth Attraction, both by Dan Kennedy, who's a longtime teacher of mine. And then over to Scientific Advertising by Claude Hopkins. I think if you read that, it's hard to read, by the way, because it's back when they talked weird, and the diction is so bizarre in there.
It is tough.
Talking to someone from 1922 or something, they just write strangely. But other than that, the information, if you digest that and actually do what he's talking about in there, you'll be able to build campaigns superior to what 99% of Madison Avenue ad agencies do, which is great. So I would say those 3. Go-Giver was pretty good too. I found that to be more inspirational than tactical. I'm more of a tactics guy. I like to be like, okay, what did you do? How did you do it? How can I do it too? Type of modeler. Really, my motivation is this thing called, if I don't get to work, then I won't have my toys anymore. So I don't need any more motivation.
Yeah,
I got 3 kids, I don't need any more motivation than that. I got plenty. So the tactical books are those. In terms of the life stuff, man, gosh, dude, Probably the most impactful book I ever read in that category was one by, this is a paradox, really. It is a little old Jewish lady who teaches Buddhist meditation. Her name is Sylvia Boorstein, and her book was called It's Easier Than You Think. And I absolutely love that book. And the message of the book was like, basically, dude, relax, it's cool. And it helps keep you from getting in your head. I don't know if you do this. I totally do. I'll obsess and get weirded out about things. You're like, well, what if this isn't working? What does that really mean?
Oh, yeah.
And that book helps stop that, which therefore can lead to more concentrated action and focused thought, etc., on the simpler things, which is to generate leads by giving something away for free that helps people and then offering to help them even more in exchange for money. The magical, mysterious, brand new formula 3.0.
Got it. Very good.
I'm gonna take some more of this energy drink here, so I can get even more. Well, and by the way, if anyone's wondering, I'm holding this giant phallic-shaped microphone, so you can hear me. Otherwise, it would be right here in front of the thing. So if anyone's seen this thing waving up in the bottom third, I am happy to see you, Mario, but I'm unfortunately not that well endowed. There's damn pills they sold me on the internet didn't work.
I hear you. So Frank, as you you disappeared from the internet marketing space. You usually don't do these kinds of interviews. You don't go to events. And I have an event coming up in San Diego in May, and I think Google Hangout allows me to use this fancy thing here. Let's see, did that work?
Look at that thing.
Yeah, it's Online Marketing Mastery. It's going to be May 2nd till the 5th, and you decided you're going to be there, and I was just wondering, what are you going to talk about, and also, why are you excited to come?
Well, I'll tell you why I'm excited to come. First of all, I know you attract a different crowd. So your guys, from what I've observed, do stuff, which is great. You and I have the same business type. Ultimately, look, free cat. You guys join now.
Cool.
Our downline today. I'll throw in this cat. She just jumped in my lap. Perfect time. Her name is Pearl. She squeaks a lot. Anyway, so we're pretty much the same where, I would talk about this stuff anyway to the right person. Like when I go to a party and a dude's got a jewelry store and we start talking about business, I'm ultimately will end up being like, oh, dude, well, what's the most profitable thing you sell? Well, how many people do you get in a day? Do you have any names and addresses? Like, what if you sent this, it's just, and they're like, God, would you please leave me alone about this stuff? Or sometimes they actually do it. Of course, the worst advice you could give someone is free, unsolicited advice, even though it could be good, But, so I really enjoy that. So I'm happy to go there because the guys that go to your stuff and your crowd do things and they actually do business, and it's just it recharges my batteries personally. I get a lot of energy from being in that type of environment because it doesn't hurt that it's in my neighborhood. And I like now the cat has just fallen off of my lap, embedding her claws in my legs there. So a pint of blood now for anyone who wants to join today. Here she is. She's back. So I'm happy to be there among those people, and I like what you're doing. I think that you are dramatically different from a lot of the people that occupy that space. You're someone who, instead of trying to prey on the new people, actually genuinely wants to help them because you've been in their shoes. Well, let's face it, you've been in significantly worse shoes than most people have ever been in. I've had a customer. I remember when I've got cat hair now floating in front of me. I remember when I was selling to that marketplace years ago, I actually had someone write in complaining that they had spent 8 hours already trying to implement the program and hadn't gotten any results. So I wish I could take them, go back in time, and be like, I'd like to introduce you now to my friend Mario Brown here, who makes your pathetic 8-hour complaint look like a walk in the park. So you're telling me you're in your air-conditioned home here in the United States of America using Wi-Fi and eating Starbucks donuts. And you're fussing about your 8 hours, So I like what you're doing, and I'm really, really happy to help. In terms of what I'll be talking about there is really how to systematically deploy results in advanced technology and campaigns. So there is really a structure that can be used to deliver that type of goodwill, to create that type of credibility, and to a degree celebrity. I don't want to say automatically. It does take work, but it takes work one time to set up the assets, meaning the videos and the marketing pieces, et cetera, to generate that kind of stuff. So I'll be talking about how to do that and also how to attract more premium priced clients and really take your game to another level. So if you, oftentimes when people complain about their customers, I want to say, well, you didn't, no one's forcing you to get those. You could get other people. If you want someone to pay you $1 million, you could become valuable enough to charge that and then go charge that. So I'd also like to share some ideas on on how to really up the game, deliver better service, free cat training if you want. I guess all you can see is the cat tail. So now I've got this and then this floating cat tail in the bottom third. So, oh, here she is. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen.
No, that's cool, man. I'm really excited about the event. And for anyone who sees this hangout, I mean, I hope we could inspire other marketers in our space, you know, to also create goodwill out there, because that's what it's really about. And I told you that I really believe that there's a little bit of a lack of leadership in our space, and you know, I want to step in there and I want to encourage other people to do things right and to create goodwill and, you know, to over deliver with their products. And that's what I want to talk about at the event. And you know, as you can see here in the URL, it's onlinemarketingmastery.net in San Diego, May the 2nd till the 5th. And if you guys want to hear more from Frank and from myself about this and webinars and all the cool stuff and creating goodwill, then cool. And if not, that's cool too, and we stay friends. Hey, Frank, I want to say thank you so much. It was awesome. And I'm looking forward to our next hangout, man.
All right, cool. And everyone say goodbye to my invisible cat, Pearl, here. Remember, first 5 people who join our MLM downline get a free cat. Now, which piece of the cat remains to be seen? But that's actually a terrible joke. Take it back. But anyway, say bye, Pearl. Bye, everybody.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right.
Take care.
See you.